Okay, hey, we are live. Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the CanHammer Team Tournament live draw brought to you from our basements.
Yep.
So, um, we'll give everybody a minute to tune into the stream and hopefully it starts kicking off. But if you are joining us for the first time or you're just returning to the channel, CanHammer Team Tournament is a team event that we host every year in Ottawa, Ontario. It is the largest team event in Canadian history, I believe, this year. And if I'm a liar about that one, then I'm a liar. It is what it is. We have 22 teams this year, 8 players per team, which is quite a bit. And quick math, it's 174 players. So my name's Chris. I'm the host and head TO of the CanHammer Team Tournament. Joining me is the co-host of our podcast.
Hey, it's Logan. I am glad to be here and chatting team stuff.
And we are joined by the co-TO of the CanHammer Team Tournament. He hasn't been on the cast in so many years that he had hair back then and he no longer has hair now. So we have.
Andrew.
So, man, I've never seen this. I've never seen a reflection like that on the podcast before. So
Wow.
thanks for joining us, Andrew.
Savage.
Okay, great on. So we're going to start off by the kind of the progression of the shows. We're going to go through our sponsors. We're going to go through some rules clarifications, and then we're going to do a live draw of all of the different teams. It's going to be this year. We're not doing a pod system, so it's just kind of all the teams have been thrown into a hat. We're going to draw them, and then we're going to make fun and predict on who we think is going to win round one in good fun. We're not making fun of anybody. We're just having a laugh at it. So, put your seatbelts on and enjoy the ride. So I'll hand over to you, Andrew. Who do we have sponsoring and making CanHammer Team Tournament possible this year?
So this year we have 3D Forge Works. They do laser cut terrain, and it's the same company who have done all of our mats this year, or at least the new ones that we're replacing with. So he's donated, I believe, 4 sets of terrain for this, for prize support. Uh, Going on with more terrain, we have Wayland Yutani, the official WTC terrain makers. They've given us 1,700 euros worth of terrain vouchers for their website. So that'll be a nice prize. Um, then we have Baron of Dice. They do like custom dice and movement, or not movement trays, but dice bags and stickers and stuff like that, like sort of gaming adjacent accessories. They've donated a bunch of stickers, some Warhammer themed soap, and every person is going to get one of their dice, and they're all like either 40K or Warhammer themed with like symbols like that on that.
Please
So
don't
what's he
use
trying? What's
the,
he?
the Nurgle dice before showing up on day 2.
Yeah, yeah. So like, what's he trying to say by donating soap? Is he saying that we stink? It kind of,
Bunch of
or
stinky wargamers.
Well, it
there's
depends. I guess depends what team gets the soap. Is it the smelly last place or the smelly first place?
Sweaty
Uh,
either way, right?
yeah,
yeah.
either way, it's sweaty.
You can smell
Uh,
like Nurgle, right? You can take a
yeah,
shower and leave with a Nurgle scent or
yeah.
aroma.
So the soaps are all chaos. I guess flavored or scented.
Flavored, yes, because I'll be
Flavored
eating those.
soaps. Well,
Uh,
we gotta try
I
it
don't,
now.
I don't know what you call it. Yeah, scented, I guess. Going on from there, Hellfire Hobbies has done a lot of work for the event as well. They've designed our new logo, the CHTT one, which plays off of our like the CanHammer logo, which is kind of nice.
Yep.
He does a lot of like live streams and painting tutorials and things like that. Really great guy. Done a lot of help also with um, the miniature approval for the event. So big shout out to Hellfire Hobbies. And then last but not least, probably our biggest sponsor, Dan at Red Dragon. He's been with us basically from the start of like all the CanHammer events. Just a huge supporter of the community and especially for us. And our event wouldn't be the same without his support. So big shout out to him.
Thank you,
Well,
Red Dragon. I wasn't saying thank you to you, but yeah, I'll say thank you to Red Dragon.
And we
brutal.
do have one other fun announcement for the event. This has just got locked in, I think, at the past day or so. We are going to have Joe from War Games Live joining us to do live streaming of the event all weekend. So really looking forward to that. If you haven't caught his stuff before, check it out at War Games Live on YouTube. I imagine everyone here has at least heard of him. Really looking forward to that. It's going to be great coverage.
Yeah, and it's interesting because he was literally in Europe a few days ago doing the Alpine Cup, and then now he's coming straight to Ottawa.
Yeah.
So
A jet setter streaming Warhammer professionally. What
yeah,
an amazing life.
yeah, definitely check him out. I watch his streams at all the major events, and it's one of my favorite streams to watch and get event coverage on. There's a lot of other really good ones out there too. So don't get mad at me for saying what I just said, but no, we love you, Joe. Thanks for coming. Okay, so let's get on to some of the meat and potatoes. Is yes, we have the model approval forum. We've been doing our best to go through there and approve everything. If we miss something, please reping us. We want to go through some of the intention of the model approval. We weren't necessarily this year trying to be super duper strict with it. We just wanted to make sure that everybody was having an enjoyable game. And with the introduction of like 3D prints and stuff like that, we wanted to make sure that armies were reasonable and WYSIWYG. So, if we did decline some of your stuff or ask you to add weapons to it, that was our intention. It wasn't necessarily to, cause any issues. And, we're not as strict as maybe we might be in the future. We're not going to go and try to ruin somebody's weekend unless it's really egregious and it wasn't approved. But we want people to be WYSIWYG. There's maybe a silent majority of people that really don't enjoy playing against non-WYSIWYG models because they can't tell what it is, and it removes that feeling element from the game. If you're used to looking at something and seeing a plasma gun, and then you're seeing a bolter and it's shooting you as a plasma gun, some people that play by more feeling, that might interfere with their enjoyment of the game. So that's where we're coming from with that. So we still have time to get approvals in. I know it's getting last minute, but please do your best. The other thing is please make sure your armies are battle ready, which is like, slap paint on it and base the models, please. And, it's in the pack. We will be taking that 10 points every game if you're not battle ready. That's another thing for the enjoyment of the hobby. And, Hellfire Hobbies, who sponsored it, he has a book out on how to paint your army in 30 days. So if if you're struggling to paint your army, pick that book up and it might help you get there. So, cool. So that's it for kind of the painting stuff. We will be doing best painted team this year, so we are looking forward to that one. The next thing that I wanted to cover while we get in is that the chess clock rules from WTC are in effect for this tournament. The, excuse me. The only thing that we're not doing is we're not going to force everybody to play with chess clocks. But if you don't have a chess clock and you run out of time, I'm sorry, but like as a referee, it's on the players to manage their time correctly. If you're halfway through a game and it's not going at the speed in which you would like, please put a chess clock on the table, set the time for the remainder of the round 50-50 and continue on. We will not be, if we show up at your table, you're on turn 2 and there is no chess clock, the result's the result, sadly. We're asking people's teammates and captains to look at the chess clocks, look at people's games, make sure they finish. If they don't finish and it's really egregious, we might be giving both teams a yellow card, depending on how egregious it is and how repetitive it is. So just make sure you're helping your teammates to get their games done and you have chess clocks available for your team. If every team brings 4 chess clocks, it's not a problem. That being said, if one player wants to use a chess clock, we will default to the chess clock. So if your opponent wants to use one, we're going to use one just for fairness. We want to make it competitive. We want to make it fair. But the one thing, if you read the WTC rules too, it's a little bit of a death clock, but not really. So we don't want people using it as a weapon. And if somebody is using it as a weapon, call me over or Andrew over, and we'll go and officiate. And that's why we're there. So hopefully that clears up some of the chess clock rules. One of the other things that is a little bit egregious this edition, and so we wanted to clarify it, is the Storm Ravens. A lot of people have them, and there is some deep strike. If you read in the rule book, basically because the Storm Raven has a base and is a vehicle, when it's in hover mode, you basically are screened out by the hull, even though you have to charge the base because you can't make contact with the hull. So that being said, you have to be very careful when deep striking in against a Storm Raven. Now, there are parts on the base that you can get somewhat close to, depending on the angles. If you are deep striking on a Storm Raven and you feel it's a little bit gamey, or, we don't want people to gotcha their opponents with it. Like the guy puts it at the wing, says, I'm going to make a 9, but they could have put it near the tail and maybe made that charge. We don't want any gotchas on that. So call a ref over if there's any discrepancies. We're also, because the Storm Ravens have to be on a flying base, any modifications to the height of that flying base. So the Storm Raven should sit a certain amount off the ground. If it doesn't sit that high off the ground, we will be kind of pretending that it's that high, and you'll be measuring on an angle, so it won't be a direct measure. So you can get a little bit closer. So hopefully that clears it up, clear as mud. Is that clear as mud, Logan?
Nice, thick, gloopy mud where
Yeah.
storm
So
ravens belong.
and I guess the moral of the story is if there's ever a gotcha interaction or an interaction that you feel is unfair or confusing, please call Andrew and I over and we'll do our best. You know, there is 170 people, but we will do our best to get you a ruling on that or to finagle it or help you guys with that. The last thing for kind of rules is just remember that the WTC has special charging through walls rules. It's like a full couple pages in the WTC rules, so we're not going to go through it here, but just keep that in mind that you can't do what we like to call force fielding, being an inch back from the wall, making you unchargeable. That is not something that the WTC allows. Provided you can also like, you know, dreadnoughts still can't charge through walls. It's they can still be force fielded, but infantry and stuff can almost always make contact or fight in a certain way. There are ways to mitigate that, and that's kind of advanced play, and there's lots of videos and podcasts on that on the internet, but that's how we're going to play that.
Yeah. For
So,
the charging walls interaction thing, there is a full separate document on the WTC website. Has great examples, pictures for everything, walks you through step by step. So definitely, if you are playing an army that is melee or you're going to be pairing into an army that does melee stuff, I strongly recommend being quite familiar with that because it will come up. And one of the other things that Chris didn't mention, I will clarify, I'm not a TO in this event at all, but for played plenty of team events, do make use of your team captains to help out with ruling stuff as well. Obviously, with limited TO staff, a lot of judgment calls can be sorted out at the table either by reading your rules, chatting with your opponent, bringing over your team captain to help settle stuff, and then escalating from there if it comes up.
yeah, very good. The other thing is like we will be doing active judging. So if I see something being played wrong and I'm walking around, I will be correcting it, just so you know. If you're not a captain on one of the teams, so just to be clear, teammates are not allowed to coach people through games. You're not allowed to tell them what to do. You're not allowed to talk to them at the tables, even the captains. You're allowed to ask, hey, how are you going to do? Are you going to get the result that we think you're going to get? If you do see one of the players play something wrong, please call a ref over, tell the ref, and then we'll sort it out. We don't want other players interfering with the game too much. And so please do, we'll do our best, of course. And if you have to pause the game, we're very reasonable people, allegedly. So we'll do our best to sort that one out as well. Yeah, and that's it. And also like once you're done pairing and the players have gone to the table, they're basically playing their own game at the table. So keep that in mind. We'll be watching out for that. And the English rules are in effect, just like the WTC. So if you're talking at the table to a teammate, you have to speak in English. You're allowed to, obviously pairing stuff you can speak in your official language of choice, but at the table, your opponent has to know what you're saying so that they know that you're not breaking the rules, essentially, right? That's the intention of that ruling. And that's straight out of the WTC rule book. Anything else you think we should cover, guys, from a rules point of view?
I think that's probably good. I mean, be a good sport, be gracious with your opponents, play fair, have a great time. Like
Yep.
that's the whole point of playing with little man dolls is to have fun. So if that's happening, you're in a good spot.
Sounds good. We will be doing 4 player place tables and 4 WTC tables per round. Just to clarify why we went that way is we purchased new terrain for this edition and we're continuing to transition our terrain to WTC terrain, but we still want to maintain and get kind of value out of those. It does add a little bit of tactical flexibility because it gives table choice a lot more value at this event. So keep that in mind. Cool. So now I guess we can go on to the part that people want to see and care about. We're going to go into the drawing of the first round pairings for CanHammer teams. A couple of rules of the draw is like we had 2 teams grudge each other. So we had BBB versus GTA 40K and Dirty Mark and the boys versus GTA 40K, the other team. So those teams are already set. They've been removed from the draw. Next year, we might move to a pod system, which might eliminate grudge matches from outside of your pod, but we haven't decided that yet. There is 2 Wargame Warriors teams in the draw. If I happen to draw them playing each other, we will put the second drawn one back in, and redraw a new opponent. If we happen to draw both Warriors teams last, then they'll swap with the previous. One of them will the last one drawed will swap with the second draw of the previous round. I just want to be full disclosure. That's how we're doing it. Once we draw this, there is no swapping. This is who you are playing. There is no exceptions, no changes. And you guys have until Thursday night at midnight to submit a DM to me via your captain that all your opponent's lists have been checked and they are legal. And that gives us Friday, theoretically, to fix those lists and make sure that everybody's list is legal and everybody has a good time at the event on Saturday. So that should be it. So I guess we can get started. So Andrew, you ready to scribe this down? So I have, if you're watching the stream, I have everybody in this nice CanHammer dice tray. I have all the teams. If for whatever reason we screwed up and missed a team, then they just automatically play each other at the end, but I triple checked. So it's just always in the back of my mind. Okay, so the first draw of the evening, randomly drawn, we have the Halton Heretics. And the Halton Heretics, round one, opponent. Hey, Wargame Warriors green. So that
Solves
issue
that
that I
problem.
just talked about is no longer an issue. Great. I just thought it was better to be upfront. So, okay, Wargame Warriors green versus the Halton Heretics. Next, we have Mid-Table Terrors. And Mid-Table Terrors are playing against Blunt Force Trauma.
Good luck, Godspeed.
Next, we got Big Dice Energy. And they are playing against Maple Leaf Wargaming.
Looking forward to it.
Oh yeah, that's your team, right?
That's my team. Yep.
We know who you're going to pick to win that one. Next, we have Team Hambone. All the way from Quebec, and they are playing against Stutter Scrub. Hambone versus Stutter Scrub. What a round one. I think they played at the last tournament, if I remember correctly, in Montreal. So that's an exciting rematch. Could be wrong on that one, but next we have Cruisin' for a Boozin'. It's a fun name for a team. I always like that.
They're fun folks. We had a scrim
They're
against them last week. A lot of fun.
so they are cruising for a boozin' at this event. And who is joining their boozin' cruisin'? It is the B plus players.
Excellent. Another local group. That'll be a fun set of games.
Okay. Next in the draw, we have our sponsors team, Red Dragon. They're out for blood this event with they have American Merc, I think.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, so they're out for blood. They brought in some foreigners to help them hit that top spot. And it's Adeptus Insanicus. So Red Dragon versus Adeptus Insanicus. Hope I'm saying that wrong.
You
Next,
hope you're
we have
saying it wrong?
saying it right, sorry. Next, we're playing Bloodbath and Beyond. And they are playing against Wargame Warriors Black. Oh, we only have 4 names left. 4 names left. We got Team Quebec. We keep Quebec. And they are playing against Bottom Table Titans. That'll be a fun round. Then we have, last but not least, Team Chimera versus Imperialist Armored Core. Pretty good. What do you think of those, Logan?
That is going to be a really fun way to get that event seated because I don't think we have any like I'm not going to comment on like relative pairings or necessarily who's going to win each, but
Yes,
uh,
we will. Yes, you totally
well,
will.
yeah, okay,
After
we
this.
will in a second. But there's nothing that I think is going to be a huge upset in the first round, which is going to be interesting. Always fun coming into events like this with random pairings, which is most 40k stuff, and just seeing like the two favorites having to play each other round one, and somebody winds up getting bumped way down with that path to victory. So it's gonna be a really tough late couple rounds in this.
Okay, so let's okay, we're gonna do this out of fun. We're not picking on anybody. If we say you're gonna lose, please prove us wrong. But I do want to go through and kind of pick. That's something that we've historically done, and it's kind of fun. So BBB Team 2 versus GTA 40K, Logan. Who you taking in that match?
I got to take a super quick look here. So BBB Team 2, what I'm looking for in my list predictions here is if anybody has like an absolute hero on their team, because there are some crazy fun lists that have shown up here. So they're playing into GTA 40K.
Team 2.
Duh, duh, duh. You know what? I see Storm Ravens on GTA 40K, so I'm gonna go with BBB.
I'm gonna go GTA 40K Team 2. What are you going with, Andrew?
Uh, I think it'll be probably GTA as well.
Sick. Okay, next one. Dirty Mark and the boys versus the real GTA 40K team. I don't know. Some teams throw you off. Like Team 1 is usually their good team. Team 2 is their like for fun team. I don't know with these ones. So Dirty Mark or GTA 40K? Who are you thinking?
Dirty Mark or GTA 40K?
And don't forget Mark's boys, of course.
Of course, of course. I am going to go with GTA 40K in this pairing. I think there's some fun lists on both sides, though.
Yep.
Some good players, so it's gonna be cool to see what happens.
I'm gonna pick Dirty Mark and the boys just because I like things dirty, if you know.
There we go.
Andrew, you got a preference?
Probably Dirty Mark and the boys. They've been around before.
Yeah, this is their returning team, but GTA 40K is returning as well, right? So anyway,
Hmm.
Halton Heretics versus Wargame Warriors Green. I'm gonna have to give it to the Halton boys. I think they got a solid lineup this year.
They do. They do. I'm leaning towards the Wargame Warriors from a list perspective on this. I think there's some crazy good stuff in their setup for this. They're well positioned from a team layout perspective. I think at least from an army selection. So I think they're well rounded. Again, I'm not looking at the names of the people on these teams necessarily. So I'm just going off lists on this.
Yep, fair enough. Andrew, you want to chime in? Wargame Warriors Green or the Halton Heretics?
Not on this one. I have no idea.
Okay, then we got Mid-Table Tears and Blunt Force Trauma.
Probably mid-table tears.
Full
Let's go.
disclosure,
Yeah,
I do play on Blunt Force when I'm
it's
not running events, but I'm gonna go with Mid-Table Tears because
yeah. I
we would
mean,
all
so
love to see them win.
I just as I need to say this, and I apologize for any of the younger audience or those who are sensitive to language. So I've gone through and I've created our pairings matrix for our team, and going through I have a little like 5 word summary for each list. And looking at mid-table terrors, the first player on this team is Alex, and I just have next to one of the other teams I have Aster Militarum, ponies and manticores, demons, triple, great and queen one, whatever. Next to Alex, all caps, bold letters, a fucking tesseract vault. So I have to go mid-table terrors on this one.
Okay, and then Big Dice Energy versus Maple Leaf Wargaming.
I'll abstain on this one because I do play
Abstain.
for one of these teams.
I actually think this is going to be a tight round. I'm predicting a tie. I'm going to predict a tie.
Okay.
Maple Leaf might have got a pretty good Space Marine player recently. So, okay, then
Like
Hambone or Stutter Scrub. Or sorry, you want to chime in there, Andrew?
you're saying like a perfect tie, like all tens across the board.
Well, no, there's like a not a perfect tie, but they'll be within the tie um, bracket. So Stutter Scrub or Team Hambone? Hambone.
I'm gonna go for my boys on Stutter Scrub.
Me too. I
Yeah,
think Stud and Snotling's going to take that one.
I think they have a killer lineup this year,
And not just because they're borrowing some of my models. So,
and not just because of those pants Jeff's gonna wear either.
oh, gross. Yeah. Next one. Actually, this is a tight one. Cruising for a boozin' and the B plus players.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun round. I think that's going to be one where there's just going to be a bunch of yelling and jokes and good times and dice rolling. Um, we played against Cruisin last week for a scrim. I'm going to give it to Cruisin on this very slight edge, I think. But I think that's going to be 16 people just having a blast round one.
I'm going B plus players. 100%.
Nice.
Yeah. 100%. Red Dragon versus Adeptus Insanicus.
So I want to call out for Adeptus Insanity. I think these are the guys from up in Timmins. So it's super cool to see folks coming in from the middle, effectively the middle of nowhere, to come to events these days.
Yeah. The city I was conceived in, if you want TMI.
Well, there you go.
Almost born in. Almost born in.
Now we all know.
It's a
Was
lot.
not.
That said, I'm going to give this one to Red Dragon. They're going to be a powerhouse team at this event as well.
Sadly, as much as the Timmins is there, I'm gonna go as well for Red Dragon. Sorry, boys, prove us wrong, please. Now Bloodbath and Beyond and Wargame Warriors Black. That's gonna be a really spicy round, I think.
I think so as well. I gotta give it to Hamza though. It's always a blast to play with. Looking forward to seeing how he and the team do here. So gonna
I
gonna
get
go
I
with
get
them.
hate every time I praise to say Hamza's gonna win, so I'm gonna say tie.
All right, there we go.
So because we'll see. Hamza's got this. Depends what kind of depends how it goes. We go tie for that one. Team Quebec versus bottom table Titans.
I think this one's gonna be Team Quebec. There are some fun lists on Bottom Table Titans though. I think there's some really neat Knights models that are gonna come out for that one. But with that, I think I'm gonna give Quebec the win on this one.
I'm gonna give Team Quebec as well. And then last but not least, we have Team Chimera, an Imperial List Armored Core. And full disclosure, Imperial Armored Select Core has 2 list penalties, which might change the result of this round.
Ooh.
So they are playing down 20 points as a team.
So they're basically down a player. They're playing a
No,
7,
so it's 20 battle points.
20
Like,
battle points. Okay,
It's not,
not
yeah.
differential.
Let's
Okay.
not get crazy. Yeah.
Still, I mean that's enough to swing a lot of games, right? That's even a pretty big. Cause that's what does that work out to? 4 differential points.
Well, so it's technically only 2, and then it's if you're plus 1 more because you have to basically differential of 6 for the first one. So
Gotcha.
it's yeah. So they're essentially playing down 2 points and a disadvantage on 2
Ooh.
points as well. I think it's gonna be a tie. I'm actually gonna give it a tie.
I like it. I think with that going on, I'm with you on a tie for this one. Played against Chimera up in Sudbury, as I recall. We had a great time. So I think it was a pretty close round for us as well. So yeah, let's go with a tie on this one.
Yeah, and Imperial List Armored Core is also a great group.
Yes.
That's gonna be a spicy round. It's gonna be an exciting round. I'm curious who wins, for sure. So anyway, good luck everybody, and thanks for doing the live draw, Logan, and hosting this. And
Yeah, thanks to you two for coming out, hopefully running a fantastic event. I'm sure it will be. Always
as
is.
long as the building doesn't catch fire or something like that, we'll be fine. Yeah,
Fingers crossed, right?
fingers crossed. And thanks, Andrew, for all your hard work with the sponsors and getting things off the ground and all your work to make sure this event is successful. And see you guys on the weekend.
Fantastic. Thanks for joining us live here as well, folks.